Hello friends, welcome to MacMisra channel. So we are in the process of learning the corrosion engineering and it's a lecture series, and now we are on the third series of this lecture. In earlier lectures we have understood the basic corrosion, then the types of corrosion means classification based on uh, dry and wet corrosion. So earlier lecture we have understood the details, what is a dry corrosion and what is wet corrosion, that were the types of corrosion. Now this lecture series basically comprises of the forms of corrosion. Forms of corrosion means the appearance based classification of corrosion based on their appearance, means how corrosion failed component will look like. Based on that we classify the corrosion, and this was already in ancient times classified by the Fontana, the writer, the very basic book on corrosion engineering. You must read that book by the Mars G. Fontana. So Fontana has classified basically 8 forms of corrosion based on their appearances. So that's very important. So in this lecture series we will try to finish all 8, but if it is taking too long we will see how much we can finish in this lecture series, and next if something is remains we will continue in another series. So we will start and we will learn from by very basics. So stay with me and to understand the corrosion. So first we will start with the general and uniform corrosion. Here I have shown the pictorial representation of that corrosion types, like this is uniform corrosion. So first is general or uniform corrosion, then second is pitting corrosion, crevice corrosion, galvanic corrosion, erosion corrosion, stress corrosion, intergranular and selective leaching. So if you have understood all these corrosion forms of corrosion, then I don't think you have any problem in corrosion engineering. So basically when you will go in field and you see the certain piece of a metal or piece of equipment has failed, then by learning this you can easily identify that this equipment failed by which form of corrosion. So basically here uniform corrosion, it's uniformly distributed along the surface. Then galvanic corrosion, when there will be the two metals in contact. Then intergranular corrosion, when it will fail along the grain boundaries. Crevice corrosion, selective leaching, pitting, then erosion corrosion, fretting, cavitation, then stress corrosion, cracking, corrosion fatigue and hydrogen embrittlement. So we will see in detail, we will understand the basics of this all these types. Let's start. So here first, this is a very basic form of corrosion, that is general corrosion or uniform corrosion. So as you can see from the picture, it's uniformly distributed along the surface. This corrosion is uniform along the surface. So basically uniform attack or uniform corrosion is a most common form of corrosion. So we can see everywhere this one. It's normally characterized by the chemical or electrochemical reaction which is uniform over the entire exposed surface or over a large area. So this happens over a large surface area, and it is the greatest, it represents the greatest destruction of the metal on tonnage basis. So if we classify the this corrosion based on their wastage on so we will see that the first is the uniform corrosion, which is destroying in more quantity of metal being destroyed by this form of corrosion. Okay, So this form of corrosion is not too great concern. This form is not a great concern, although this is a greatest form, means metal are corroding much by this type of corrosion, but this type of corrosion is a not a concern from technical point of view, because the life of equipment can be accurately predicted on the basis of the comparatively simple test. So predictivity is very high, means we can easily predict and we can estimate what will be the life of my this piping. Okay, so we can calculate the life also, corrosion rate also, or remaining life also we can calculate easily, because this is uniformly distributed along the surface. And one basic example of uniform corrosion is atmospheric corrosion. So if we see atmospheric corrosion, the pipe or steel which comes in the contact of atmosphere, and it starts corroding all over entire the surface with same this rate, that's a general or uniform corrosion. So uniform corrosion can be prevented by reducing. So how to prevent? This can be prevented by proper material including coating, means selection of proper material as per the environment, and like here this see, or applying the proper coating. Here see, the carbon steel pipe has corroded uniformly, but if we have provided a better coating, we can prevent this type of corrosion. Then inhibitors, using the inhibitor, corrosion inhibitor also protect this type of corrosion. Then third option is cathodic protection. So all this type of corrosion prevention we will learn in detail in coming lecture series. So for basic understanding, the general form of corrosion is a very common form, but it's corrode large number of metals, and it having large area distribution. And third thing is predictability is high, we can easily predict this, that's why it's not a great concern technical point of view. So this, now we understood the basic general or uniform corrosion. Now we will move to next. The next is pitting corrosion. So as name told, the pitting, there will be pit formation on the metal surface. So there will be various types of pits. First we try to understand what is pitting corrosion. It is a localized form of corrosion by which cavities or holes are produced on the metal. On the metal, cavities or holes get produced, that's called pitting corrosion. So pitting corrosion is a more dangerous form than uniform corrosion. It's a more dangerous than earlier we seen uniform corrosion, because it's difficult to detect, predict and design against, because predictability is less. We cannot predict where the corrosion will happen and material will fail suddenly, so this will lead to loss of containment. So but we cannot predict that, so that's why this is a dangerous form than the earlier we seen like general corrosion, due to its predictability. Okay, and it is caused by the localized chemical mechanical damage. So this is caused by the localized damage. It may be localized chemical reaction, or localized damage of oxide film, local damage of oxide film, because we have seen, if there is a protective oxide film which is formed, stable oxide film, that prevent the further corrosion, but when my oxide film got damaged, then this will again increase the corrosion at that location, and that will cause a localized pitting corrosion. So next is breakdown of passive film by acidity, low dissolved oxygen concentration. So low dissolved oxygen concentration is also a problem, because if we have very low oxygen, then protective layer will not form. And then high concentration of chloride. If there is a high concentration of chloride even in carbon steel it's aggravate the pitting corrosion. Okay. So third thing is this number, print number. Print number is a very important number in respect of pitting, that's why I have highlighted here. So print is, what is print? Print is pitting resistance equivalent number. So basically SS, duplex and this high alloys, which we are calling KRAs, corrosion resistant alloys, they are classified based on their print number. Means if certain metal having high print number means its pitting resistance is very high. So there is a formula to calculate the print. Print number is calculated by the percentage of the chromium in metal, then 3.3 times of percentage of moly, 5.5 times plus 5.5 times tungsten plus 16 times the percentage of nitrogen. So this is the basic formula to calculate the print number. So if print number is high, my metal's pitting resistance will be high. So like if we are talking about SS304 and 316, so 316 having better print number, more print number, because moly is being added, and in this formula we are adding moly, so this will increase the print number. So 316 will be better with respect to the pitting resistance of the metal. So basically types of pitting corrosion. So there are various types of pits which can get formed depending on the local corrosion phenomena happening at that localized location. Okay. So throw pits means first form is narrow and deep pit, then it may be a shallow pit, then it may be a elliptical pit or vertical grain type attack, then these are the thorough pits. Then comes to sideway pits. Then subsurface pit means from top we can see only a small hole, but if we remove this certain metal surface we can get deep pitting inside, but from the top we cannot see. Then this type also similar to that, undercutting. So here also we can see, here there is a deep pitting inside, but from the top we are unable to see that. Then this is a horizontal attack. This is also a similar form of corrosion and pitting corrosion. So these all are the various forms of the pitting corrosion. This is the if we see we can ask how, which type of these shown in the photograph looks like shallow, some are shallow and some are elliptical, and these are looking like subsurface or undercutting, subsurface and undercutting type pits. So this we understood the pitting corrosion. Now we will move ahead to the third form of corrosion. So third form of corrosion is basically crevice corrosion. So what is crevice corrosion? Crevice means when it's two surfaces are parallel to each other, and there is a certain gap between that, and the corrosion species will stick there, and that they cause the localized corrosion, that is called crevice corrosion. Like here we have a riveted joint of the two plates. So rivet is provided between the two plates, and these plates are parallel to each other. Now if there is a certain gap in between the metal, what will happen? The moisture will be stagnant in that area. Okay, and that zone will be low oxygen concentration zone. Okay, and another zone will be high oxygen concentration zone. So moisture will ingress in this, and this will cause a localized phenomena, localized corrosion. So that's called crevice corrosion. Okay, so now understand, it's a localized form of corrosion usually associated with the stagnant solution, means there it happens in a stagnant zone, crevice zone on the microenvironmental level. So there will be formation of another microenvironment at that crevice location. So it occurs in crevices such as those formed under, so where that crevices can form gasket surfaces, washers, insulation materials, fastener heads. These fastener heads means here also it can form. Then surface deposits, disbond suiting, threads, lap joints and clamps. So these are the location where these crevices can form and cause a localized phenomena which can lead to the crevice corrosion. So crevice corrosion is initiated by change in the local chemistry within the crevice. So there will be a change in local chemistry at that crevice area, and that will cause the corrosion. So this form of corrosion is called crevice corrosion, or sometimes deposit or gasket corrosion, because it's majorly found in the gaskets, where between the two flanges a gasket will be put, and this will call the local this will generate the local chemistry in that area. Moisture will be entrapped there, and that will cause the localized crevice type of corrosion. Here you can see in both flanges there is a localized crevice corrosion. So this also this is a crevice corrosion. This can be prevented by the proper design. We have to design equipment and our facility properly to avoid this type of crevice corrosion, so that crevices are not formed in our system. So this can be prevented by that. Now we will move ahead to our next form. This is very important form of corrosion, that is galvanic corrosion, or sometimes we are calling dissimilar metal corrosion. So what happened in galvanic corrosion? In galvanic corrosion, as you heard, galvanic cell means in galvanic cell there will be two things, one anode and one cathode. So how I can define a galvanic corrosion means when there will be two metals and in contact, either direct contact or contact with the help of some electrolyte or some connecting medium or electron transfer medium. So when there will be two metals which are electronically connected, so there will be a formation of galvanic cell, and the more noble metal means the noble metal means which is not reactive. So not reactive means like gold, titanium, these are noble metals. So they will not corrode, but the reactive metal which is less noble, that will start corroding, work as an anode, and noble metal will work as a cathode, and a galvanic cell will form, and the less noble metal will start corroding. That is called galvanic corrosion. So we can understand here by example. So this stud is of stainless steel. This is stainless steel stud, and the nut, one is SS and one is carbon steel. So SS is more noble and carbon steel is less noble. So here they came in contact, the SS and carbon steel has came in contact, and the less noble metal carbon steel CS, and this one is SS. So less noble carbon steel started corroding due to the galvanic cell formed, and after some time you will see this nut will disappear due to the corrosion. So that's called the galvanic corrosion. Now we will see the literature. A potential difference exists between two dissimilar metal when they are immersed in a corrosive or conducting solution. Means when there are two dissimilar metals, so one will be noble and one more noble, one will be less noble, means one will be active, one will be less active. So based on that, when they will come in contact in a surface, in a medium, then a potential difference will exist that will initiate the electron flow. So if these metal are placed in contact, otherwise electrically connected, the potential difference produces electron flow between them, then electron will start flowing. Okay, the corrosion of the less corrosion resistant metal is usually increased. Less corrosion resistant like carbon steel, which is SS, so less corrosion resistant corrosion will start corroding of the more as compared with the behavior of this metal they not. So less resistance metal is anodic, so less resistance metal will work as anode and more resistant metal will act as a cathode. So this can be taken care by further in designing. We have to avoid the this contact of the two metals which having the large difference in their electrode potential. So basically we have to see the galvanic series. In galvanic series we have to design metals such that they are at a nearby place, means there should not be large difference, means like here these are more active metals on the top and these are the least active or noble metals. So when the gap will be large, the reaction will be fast. So we have to check that they should be either same, or if we are using different metal, then we should be very close to each other to avoid the too much potential difference. So on the top side of the galvanic series, most susceptible to corrosive attack, less noble. So these are less noble, mild steel, carbon steel, so these all are less noble. If you are coming to bottom side, these are high noble, they will not corrode, but if some reactive metal will come, they will corrode that metal. So these are noble: monal, titanium, passivated SS 304, passivated 316, silver, gold and platinum. These are very noble, they will not corrode, but when another metal will come, so they get corrode. And one more important factor in this galvanic series is the surface area. So if the surface area of anode is less, then it will corrode very easily, immediate it will get finished. So that's why we need to put this surface area high. Okay, so like here this is a bad selection. Here aluminum is working as an anode and aluminum surface area is less, and SS is cathode. So aluminum is here and SS is here. So SS is aluminum is less noble, it is more noble. So what will happen? This surface area is very less and it will finish immediately. So if we are designing something, how we have to do good selection, means the stainless steel as a cathode, because it's a it is a noble metal in comparison with aluminum, so we have to keep higher anode and lower cathode. So surface area of anode versus cathode ratio should be high to avoid the galvanic corrosion. So hope you have understood the galvanic corrosion. So basically now we have understood the four major forms of corrosion. So avoiding the lecture too long, we will continue our next lecture series and we will discuss more about the other remaining forms of the corrosion that will be very important and beneficial to us. So stay with me for understanding the corrosion engineering lecture series. So thank you all for listening me. If you think that I have added a value in your knowledge, or you found my video helpful to you, Please share with your team, your channel, your friends, your loved ones, which uh, may be beneficial to all. So thank you very much.